Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome back to Witchy Work Wishes. I am your host, Charlene, and today we are picking up right where we left off with Justin last week on our topic about Norse paganism. I did my best to break up the recording. We had a little over 45 minutes last week, and we have about an hour this week. So I want to say thank you to my listeners. Both of these episodes go well past my 30-minute podcast goal slot. I do try to make this podcast for the working person who can probably get an episode in before or after work. But there have been a handful of topics with amazing guests that go well over the slated minutes. And talking with Justin was no exception. I could have talked with him for hours. So I do appreciate you coming back for part 2 of my taping with him. Now, normally I do pull 3 things I did over the weekend to help with my own personal practice, and of course talk about the beautiful moon and where she is guiding us this week. But we're going to jump right into today's episode so I can get it all in. I do have a quick ad insert, and then we are back with Justin and more on Norse paganism.
Yes, and like every time I tell it, I get goosebumps.
Right?
And, now I'm in the process of working with the chaplain's office here at Fort Polk,
Yeah.
newly named Fort Johnson,
Okay.
as a designated faith group leader for Norse pagans and pagans.
That is huge.
So we're projected to start everything in August.
That's around the corner. That's like 3 weeks
Yes.
away.
Yes, I am making a whole leather book specifically for my stuff to do on post.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to think that just 5 years ago,
I know.
I was singing in a choir in a Pentecostal church, and here I am.
Again, I'm really big on letting things kind of happen organically, whether you're paying attention to the nudges and the gentle reminders that you're getting, but things happen when they're supposed to happen. And for whatever reason, you're just right where you're supposed to be. Like I love everything about that.
Yes, it's really awesome because my wife has always said, everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
And the Norns, which are the weavers of fate in Norse mythology.
What are they called?
The Norns.
The Norns. Okay.
Think about in Hercules when the old hags are around the pot, and they see people. That's basically what the Norns are. They're the weavers of fate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the Norns weaved fate just so ironically for me to be here.
But don't you think you had the other stuff had to happen for you to have the power and enthusiasm and drive that you have right now? It all had to happen.
Oh, most definitely. And, if anyone is in the broom closet and they think that, I'm stuck in this super conservative Christian household.
Right.
I'm never going to get away from it. I'm proof right here that you can definitely get away from it.
I'm telling you. Yeah, right. And your time, when it's supposed to happen, it will. It just will.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, you have a lot coming up then. Oh my gosh.
Yes. The next 6 months are going to be insane.
I bet.
I've got to plan rituals for Lunasa, Mabon, Samhain, Yule, along with trying to plan something for a weekly get together.
Oh my gosh. And you have twins, and you have a 3-year-old.
And a 3-year-old. Yes.
And a family and a wife and a job.
Yeah. Yeah, a very hectic job that is.
Sounds like it. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Which would be, I think this is a good point to bring up, how you can incorporate Norse paganism into your everyday life at work. So what I do is I'm the guy who rides in the back of a garbage truck.
Mm-hmm.
and picks up your garbage. There's not a day that goes by that I don't draw the Rado rune, which looks like an R,
Okay.
on my truck that
Just
I'm on.
even figuratively or literally?
I literally
You
draw it
literally.
on the truck
Okay. Okay.
with like, because it's covered in dirt most of the time. So that rune
That's
is always
fair.
on all the trucks I'm on.
That
Um,
is amazing.
because Rido, it's like your tiger's eye for the runes. It is
Oh,
your travel rune. Think of like radio waves.
right.
So,
So
and
that's,
then
and you start off with that, like before we get going, this is on the truck before we even move
yes,
forward.
like
Okay.
yeah, like we get to route, I get out, that rune is drawn on the truck, along with a algaes, which is like it's the Y with the line in the
Mm-hmm.
middle. Those two runes I put together to make a bind rune, and that goes on all
Mm-hmm.
my trucks.
Because you don't have necessarily the same truck every time. So you have to create your own space and energy for each truck that you are in.
Yes, a lot of times I'm on the same truck over and
Mm-hmm.
over again, but it's still just the principle that like when I get on that truck, that it's drawn. Now to be covered up with dirt in 45 minutes, but
But it's there.
I
That doesn't
know
matter.
that the magic
That's right.
and the intention of me having a safe ride is on that truck. And it's in my personal space where I hold on to the truck.
And not to go off on a rabbit hole on this one, but I know a lot of times with other topics for the podcast, if you are in the broom closet or you're going into a situation where you can't be maybe super obvious with things, taking a roller ball of cologne or perfume or essential oils or whatever you do, and putting that image on your own body, is that something you practice as well, or no, it's more for the physical items that you're using?
I will draw them on my body. I'm open about it. Everyone at my
Mm-hmm.
job knows about it. I
Mm-hmm.
will yell this from the rooftop.
Here
My
we
and my
go.
thought my thought is if I could do it when I was a Christian and everyone accepted it, I can do it now. And if they don't like it, that's their problem, not mine. But I mean, if you are in the room closet and
Right,
you don't want to walk around with a rune on you, or your
right,
parents are like, "Oh, what's that?"
right.
You can definitely use a roller ball
Mm-hmm.
and draw the runes that you feel
That
called
you
to.
need that energy for the day
Yeah.
or something. I'm wondering
Yes.
if your coworkers, like, do you have the same guy that you're always with? If or no? Does that
Sometimes like I've got one driver and another ground hand that I work with, so there'll be two of us in the back of the truck just because the
yeah.
route's really heavy. Um,
Like I'm wondering if
she
they feel more protected when they are with you because of the energy they know you have.
Yes, that specific truck, they know that when I'm on the back of it, that like I'm the big woo woo guy, and they're like the driver's like not religious at all, and the
Right.
other ground hand is super interested in Norse paganism,
Oh,
and we talk about this all the time. He's like, "Why do you do this?"
right.
Oh, I was reading XYZ. Can you explain if this is true or not, or like
Mm-hmm.
where's that silver lining that they're leaving out or that I'm missing?
Sure.
And I've had, believe it or not, like quite a few coworkers come up and like talk to me about this. And I think it's because I'm so open and I'm so vocal about it.
That does give somebody a lot of courage if they are in the broom closet or whatever type of closet they're talking about for the religious beliefs, and just knowing that somebody one is willing to talk about it without judgment. That's a
Mhm.
huge door opening.
Yes. And I try to be that. We've got another guy who's really quiet and he's like deconstructioning from Christianity. And
Mm.
everyone's like, how do you get him to talk to you? And I'm like, I'm just good.
Like just
Because he will
it's
not
just
talk
me.
to it. Yeah, it's just me.
It's just
I'm just
me.
good like that. And but for real though, he will not talk to anybody else other than like, hey, we've got a pile of stuff coming up.
Right. That
He's
means he
quiet.
feels he feels safe around you, and it's okay. You've created that environment. Then
Yeah.
good for you.
And so like for Lunasa, what I'm planning for work, I think it's on a work day this year. If it is, what I'll do is like over the weekend, I'll bake a bunch of bread and I'll bring it to work.
Mhm. So that is actually one area I'm really big on. I love cooking for my office and bringing
Mhm.
stuff in, and I can put my own intentions into it. So I think that is a great way to bridge anything with your own personal practice and then bringing stuff into your coworkers.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And if you know, want to wear a rune, or you want to wear or bring
Hmm.
in the Norse stuff, just be like, oh, I watched the Vikings TV show the other day and I thought it was really cool,
Exactly. Yes.
and just blame it on Vikings.
That's right. Okay, so I have to ask, how accurate do you think that was? That was the History Channel that put the Vikings on, right? Wasn't it? I think
Yes,
it
yeah,
was. Yeah.
yes. So Ragnar Lothbrok, it was not a real person. He
What?
was a person. Yes. Well, we don't know if he was or not.
You're bursting my
Um,
bubble here. Please don't say this to me. I have a
I'm
cat
so
named
sorry.
Ragnar Lothbrok.
I really hate to tell you, I'm so sorry. He was not a real person.
What?
He was like, we would believe that he was the name Ragnar Lothbrok was used over multiple stories.
No, no.
But we do know that Ivar the Boneless was a real
Yep.
person.
Yeah.
King Harold Finehair was a real person.
Okay.
Rollo was a real person. Actually, my family tree goes back to the Rollos in France.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, like we're like third cousins from the family that he's in.
Oh my gosh. And that's
Yes.
what's hard. I know I did I talked about the genealogy stuff with my mom and all the it took so much effort to go back that far, and we're so close because she can get my line only because things stop getting documented. You know, you get too far
Mhm.
back. So we're right around, I think we're like 400 years off from where the Vikings were. But
Mhm.
what are you gonna base it off of? There's not, you know,
Yeah,
the church documented things, but the pagans didn't.
exactly. Or
It's
what
tough.
was documented by the pagans, the church destroyed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which is why you have people like Snorri Sturluson, I think is his name,
Mm-hmm.
um, who, you know, all of his stuff is very Christian. That we read that's Norse mythology based is
Mm-hmm.
very Christian skewed.
Right. So
Um,
again, when you're talking about reading stuff, that would be your grain of salt. Take it with a
yeah,
grain of salt.
yeah.
What was that other series with Uhtred? Uhtred, son of Uhtred?
Um,
Oh, The Last Kingdom. The Last Kingdom. Did you watch
I
that one?
have, I did not. I
Okay.
started to. I just had other things going on.
Okay. Oh, really?
I
Do
think
you?
yeah, yeah, right. I think we were watching like Chicago Fire. Those are
Yeah.
Chicago Fire, Ned and PD
Yeah.
all together. And so like I was like, oh yeah, we're just not. I'm just gonna leave this Netflix stuff and come over here to Peacock and start watching this.
That's right. Well, I loved it. It's a great bridge of the main character, Uhtred, son of Uhtred, is how he bridges the pagan life and the Christianity life.
Hmm.
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
If you watch on Netflix, they have Vikings Valhalla.
Yeah.
That's a continuation of Vikings from the History Channel.
Yes.
That is a little bit more historically accurate because that's when stuff was getting a little bit more documented. Um,
Oh,
yes. Also,
okay.
for everyone else out there who
Hmm.
thinks that Christopher Columbus was the one who came to America first, the Vikings did it
Oh, clearly. Yeah,
by completely by accident, but
they did.
the Norse people were here first.
I think that has to be for the United States, one of our most or longest running jokes is Columbus Day.
Yeah. Oh,
It just it just has
I
to be.
I hate Columbus Day. Um,
But don't you find more and more people are like, wait, what are we doing? What is today? What are we doing again? Like we know this
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
right.
yeah. Exactly. It's like, yeah, someone
What
needs
are we
to fix this in the
exactly?
schools.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Um,
Okay, so I know we got off topic there. What Okay, I was going to ask you specifically. So for runes, did you, and we'll just do a quick hit on it. Did you buy your first set or did you make your first set and work with it like from scratch?
so I made my first rune set,
You did. Okay.
and actually my only rune set. This was one that I made.
Oh,
Yes,
that seems
and
intimidating.
it it was
Yeah.
because
Okay, good.
I am one of those people who like just dive headfirst into things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, you know, baby stepping. It's like, oh hey, look, here's the cliff. I'm gonna jump off into this and see what happens.
It's got my
Um,
name on
yeah.
it.
Parachute wear? I don't think so. But I made
Oh,
my first rune set. It really helped me learn the runes. And what I
Absolutely.
did was I took almost a full year till after I made the set. I made it, and then my wife, who's very crafty like I am,
Hmm.
was crocheting. She crocheted me a little pouch that I could put my runes in and wear to work.
Oh, I love that.
And so I took one rune for 1 week. I wore that one rune. I kept that one rune on me at all times.
Hmm.
And I focused really heavily on what that rune meant and the energy of that specific rune. And I did that twice in a year just to make sure
You
because I
got it.
wanted,
Yeah.
yeah, because I wanted the runes tattooed on me. But there's such old, heavy folk magic involved in it.
Hmm.
And I did not want that in my life without knowing it, no, knowing what they were.
That's smart.
So I did that, and then I got the Elder Futhark tattooed. Actually, like
Hmm.
I'll have to show you a picture of it, but
Yeah.
it's my Vigdasir, the Mjolnir, and then the first half of the Elder Futhark on one side of it, and the second
Oh,
half on the other side. So it outlines those two big
oh, that
images.
would be nice.
You
So
know,
with the runes, can I ask, is that did you get into the Norse history first and like paganism in general and then the runes came next? Or did you
yes,
start okay, yeah, you need to
yeah,
know your stuff.
yeah. I wanted to know who the gods were, what they were about,
Hmm.
who I connected with. you know, Another thing that the Norse heavily focus on are like the Landvatir, which are the spirits of the land.
Hmm.
Like I've got a blueberry bush outside, and I refuse to pick the berries off of it because we've only lived in this house a couple, like 7 or 8 months now,
Hmm.
and my kid wants to pick the berries, and I'm like, no, but we'll just leave them for now. And my wife's like, why don't you just pick them? And I'm like, because I don't have a relationship with this blueberry bush yet, or the fig tree, or
Ah, right,
the blackberry
right,
vines that are across the street. I don't want to just take from these without knowing what they can offer back. Like what can I give these plants? How can I help them grow?
right. Now, do Fae and fairies play a part with paganism and the Norse
I think
history, or
so.
no?
I
You
think
do?
I think so. Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean, especially if you're
Um,
talking about, not the dwarfs, but what am I just lost the
the
name.
giants,
The giants, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
the Jotuns. So
Yes, yes.
actually, Scotty, who's the goddess of winter and hunting, she is technically a Jotun who
Oh.
married yes, who married Nord.
Freya's dad.
Yes,
Say her name again. Who is the mom?
Scotty.
But is that her mom or not Freya's mom?
Yeah, no, I don't remember who they said was Freya's mom.
Okay.
It's
But okay, so Scotty
so
married
much.
Nord. Okay.
Yes, she thought that she was married. Again, this is all when you read.
Yeah.
You'll it unfolds it all. So if what I say is a little off, it's probably because I haven't read the books in like 4 years.
That's okay. Or we should say spoiler alert. This is who
Yeah, yeah. The spoilers here.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So
So
she,
if
yeah.
my memory recalls correctly,
Hmm.
Scotty, there was a treaty, and Scotty wanted to marry someone, and she had to do it by looking at someone's feet, and
Mm.
she chose the most prettiest feet, and it was Njord. I
Ah,
may be mixing two
interesting.
stories up,
Yeah.
but that's definitely in there.
Okay.
So she was kind of tricked into marriage.
Yeah.
And then, we have Loki. Loki is technically a Jotun also.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes. Also, for those of you who are, in the, I think it's LGBTQ plus, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Loki is your man. Loki's your person because
That's interesting.
Loki is in the stories turned himself into a mare um, to trick this dwarf's giant horse and to stop building the wall around Valhalla and got impregnated with Sleipnir.
Really?
Yes.
Loki.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Loki.
Also, the goddess Hel is, contrary to the movies, Hel is his daughter.
Loki's daughter.
Yes.
Okay.
She is the goddess of Hel or Helheim. And of course, I'd already said that Fenrir is his son,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he has one more child, but I can't remember who it is.
So Fae and fairies, definitely in the world of the giants.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Are gnomes or pixies or anything part of the Norse world?
I would say they're all, I mean, that's all in one
Yeah,
with the Fae. Um,
right. Okay,
but
would this be a good time to try to do like specific paganism and Norse stuff for the office? Or is there something
yeah,
else like really that we should tie, like, don't forget to say this
um,
in general?
I will say this.
Hmm.
If you are one who wants to get into the runes,
Hmm.
take your time. Do not rush. Like I said before, they are old. It's old folk magic,
Hmm.
and it's not like tarot where there's a book you can just pick up and read.
Right.
It's or oracle, or
Hmm.
it's a lot like I think it's called ostomancy, where you throw the bones.
I was going to ask you about bone magic and workings. Is that something that you do?
I do not,
Hmm.
but I really want to make a set of runes that are
Hmm.
like deer bones.
Hmm.
Yes, I again with me working for the trash company, I find all kinds of animal parts.
Oh, I bet. Or even just on the
I
side of the road, fresh that are hit, right? Like you just,
I will normally like if I'm able to we're able to stop, I'll take those and just pull them off into the like I'll pull it off the road just because. And I saw this one thing that was like if that was your dog, you wouldn't let it sit on the side of the road.
you wouldn't. No, that's respectful.
Yeah, and that goes back to um, paganism being a very animistic and nature
Hmm.
based
Hmm.
religion. Show that animal some kind of respect by pulling it off and letting it decompose back into nature where it came
Right. And
from.
even just a circle of life out in nature, somebody that while that, animal died, it will be fuel for another animal
Oh yeah, like
if it gets
the
eaten.
vultures are huge over here in central
Hmm.
Louisiana.
Yeah. It all matters,
It's
right? There's that
yeah,
balance with life and everything. Like it's all every little how no matter how small of an insect or animal to how big, like it's all needed. Everybody's needed. Everybody has their place.
yes, and it's really cool. I another thing that some people are going to ask about is like that I've been asked about a lot is
Mhm.
do the Norse have spirit animals
Oh,
or
yeah.
they do. It's but the term that they use is a philgia.
Say that one more time. A Thilkia?
Phi- Philgia,
Philgia. Okay.
and that is like an animal spirit that was chosen from birth or like from when you were created. That is part of you, not so much one it's assigned to you at birth. It
Sure.
is part of you.
It's going to go
And
through life with you.
yes, and the wisdom of Odin on TikTok, or I'm not TikTok, on YouTube, that
Yeah.
they have a podcast. He has a podcast called Fellowship, or sorry, it's the Northern Traditions,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and it was formerly known as the Folk Podcast. But Jacob and the other community leaders had such a big community that they became a 501c3,
Oh, goodness.
which is amazing.
That just shows you the energy then. Like it just snowballed on him probably.
See here, they started around COVID is when I found them, so a little bit before
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
And while we're talking, I'm going to try and find the episode
Right on.
uh, of their podcast that where they talk about philia.
Okay,
Um,
perfect.
and but so there are ways that you can find out what your philia are that they talk about. But what I did was, being me, I was in the back of a truck.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it. It's
Okay, what
episode.
is it?
It's the Northern Traditions podcast,
Okay.
episode 48. It's called "Finding Your Philia."
That's it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put that actual link in the show notes too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And they talk about ways of finding it. But what I did was
Yeah.
I was out in the middle of nowhere,
Hmm.
and I was at a stop, taking a 15,
Hmm.
and I was sitting there, and I was like, you know what, guides, spirit guides, anyone who's listening, I want to know what my Philgia is.
You
Whatever
specifically asked it.
I specifically vote like out
Full blood.
loud,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I said, I don't care if it's a stuffed animal, a
Yep.
a, a poster, a skull, anything. I just want to know.
Right.
And sure enough, I cannot make this up. The next stop we went to, there was a massive cow skull sitting on top of the trash can.
You're kidding.
Dead serious, and it was the biggest rush I've ever gotten, like of chills all over my body.
Yeah, that gives me goosebumps thinking of it. So literally you asked the next stop, there it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the thing that's even crazier about it is that I have 5 cows living outside my house that I take care of,
Mm-hmm.
and a donkey.
Oh, a donkey. Those guys are so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. It's like I would have never thought
No.
that a cow was my Philgia. And if you listen to the episode, Jacob talks about how he did something kind of similar, and his Philgia was a turkey.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Right. So for those of you who are like, oh, well, I wonder what mine is, don't be shocked whenever you get a pigeon.
You got to be open.
Or a turkey. Yeah,
Oh
because I mean, I could have I could have found a picture of a sloth, and or something of the sorts, but there it was, massive cow skull, and pulled it out, started looking, and the next stop,
Unbelievable.
I found a cow spine, like a spine.
The one after that, the
one after that, yeah.
What?
Yeah. If I had room in the truck, I would have taken that too.
Oh.
But I've got the cow skull that I found in my front yard.
You still have it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This was like last month.
Man, you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on.
I do.
You do have one tarot deck, but I've got an animal oracle deck as well. And you get, of course, you pull some of the, you get the coyote, or you get something that's glamorous. For the longest time, I kid you not, I kept getting the chameleon, and it started pissing me off. And I was like, like there's some things you're like, I don't want that. That's not.
Yeah, like why do I want this thing?
I don't. But then you read it and you're like, okay, there's something here I'm supposed to be doing. There's something here that just keeps, I'm not doing it. So I keep pulling the same card, and it's frustrating, but I've got to just take a step back and say, it is. So whatever your animal ends up being, it's for a reason.
Yeah. And so I started doing a lot of research. I'm still doing research on like what the cow, like the cow or the bull
represents.
Yeah. And a lot of it is very much who I am. And I started showing my wife all the stuff I found, and she was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Do you want me to look at my oracle deck and see if there's a cow and what it says?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, hold on a second. Yep, there is. Cow spirit, page 46. Let me see what it says. Okay, now this is for my oracle deck, which is the spirit animal oracle. Cow spirit is the miracles are endless. It says, you are at a beautiful point in your life today, for your needs are being met effortlessly and in so many ways. Fully embrace the truth by focusing on all you have right now, including the positive relationships that sustain you, the work you are proud to do to contribute to the world, and the activities that inspire you and nourish your soul. Cow spirit nudges you to pay attention, because this is the perfect time to focus on the choices, actions, and behaviors that feed your soul and bring your heart contentment.
Wow. Goosebumps.
Really?
Yeah.
You're on a path right now, especially if you're getting nudged to start something up in your area you got some stuff going here.
Yeah. I think they're telling me that they have like 50 to 100 like people who have came to them, or like
already.
Like before I went to them, it was like, hey, I want to do this. They're like, yeah, we have like confirmed on base somewhere between 50 and 100. And I kid you not, oh my God. I kid you not, the head chaplain was like, yeah, I've been trying for the last 6 months to find any information to help these guys out, but I can't find anything.
You are right where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. And just for the fact that they were like, yeah, this is what we needed. We need someone like you to come in and help us learn, because we want to help them, but we cannot.
Right. This isn't their area.
Yeah.
But it's yours.
They are 100% ready to back me with whatever I have planned.
How beautiful is that though, right? I mean, to have like, it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter whether you're spiritual or not. Like everybody can do what they got to do. And here they're saying, we need your help.
Yeah. Like these people who, you know, and it's the irony in it is hilarious to me
Mhm.
that these people who all they post is Christian things on their Facebook
Mhm.
are now gonna be blasting me all over it and what I'm doing. My liaison that I'm in contact with, she's like, "Oh yeah, we just got into some Fort Johnson shirts for the RSO, which is the Religious Support Office."
Sure.
And she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put Pagan Padre on it
Oh,
for you." And they made jokes before I went and met everyone that I was the Space Viking because that was my email. And so when
that's
we sat
awesome.
down, yeah, so when we sat down, they're like, "Oh, you're the Space Viking," and I'm like,
You're
"Well,
like,
everyone knows me as Pagan Padre, but yeah,
but yes.
but yeah."
Just
And
think though, I mean, what an amazing one, how open they must be to be bridging this gap, right?
mhm.
But if you think about it, everybody's so used to saying Christmas when it's really all the Yule stuff that everything has been started from. Same with Easter, right? Easter, really? Not really.
So the Easter thing is, I didn't learn this till recently, and that's like there's a lot of Easter things that Christians do, like the eggs and the
Mhm.
rabbits. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Of course.
It really doesn't.
Of course. I
Um,
know.
and for those who think, oh well, Christians stole Easter from the goddess Eoster or
Uh-huh.
Ostara.
Yep.
That's not at all what happened.
What's your
That's
take
just
on
a
it?
that's just a coincidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence. And it's one of those things. Paganism, especially Norse, is a religion of study. So if you don't like studying,
This is not
and
for you.
I'm gonna say you're gonna have to learn to like it
You're gonna
because
struggle.
I struggle with this, and like I was saying, like let me flip through my book.
Right,
I've
right.
got I don't have the best handwriting, and that
That's okay.
yeah, but I am flipping through this and I'm like, okay, let me find this page. And I've got this book is so old and I've barely made a dent in it, but I've got like the Wheel of the Year and
Yeah.
color magic and the gods, and I like flipped to a random page in the back a while ago and it's like, oh, the super pink full moon, and there's a random flower that's squished in here.
God, where'd you get the book from?
Uh, Books a Million.
Love that.
Just one of those leather books. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's this? The Pink Moon tarot reading, New Moon Taurus, and from 2021.
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. When you start, for me, like I just follow whatever I'm drawn to at the moment, and I'll write it
Mm-hmm.
out as long as possible. And then every time I go to a new subject area, I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, that ties back to this, and it ties back to this, and it's like we were talking about with the days of the week and or the seasons and the holidays and the celebrations, and like it's just all so commingled. The
It's
colors, the
yeah,
energy.
colors, and it's really cool because my wife, she's not a very spiritual person. She's like, yeah, there's something out there. I just don't know what it is, and I
For
don't
sure.
really care.
Yeah.
So she's like, whenever she was crocheting my little pouch for my rune that I would wear. I was like, hey, do these specific colors. And she was like, okay, why? And I busted out my book. I'm like, well, because of color magic and
Right.
not magic. So that's something that, if you work in the office, you can put those two together.
For sure.
Oh, what's this cool looking little coaster you have? Oh, it's just a coaster I made, but it could totally be you weaving a spell into that coaster.
Absolutely. And the colors that matter, or the day that you did it on, the
Mm-hmm.
intentions you put into it.
Yes.
I've got somebody's going to be helping me with my first ever servitor for the office. And
Okay.
while this person isn't pagan, or like he's got his own, it's a client of mine. He's
Mhm.
such a protector by nature. He is like, his whole core is about protecting those people around him. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just can't imagine a better person to design and work on this servitor for me than to have than somebody that is that protective to their core.
Yeah, and that's really awesome because I'm I resonate with that a lot.
Mhm.
I very much speak up for those who like don't think they should say something.
Yeah.
You've got two sides to the coin. Once again, like my wife, for instance, like if she orders something they bring out wrong, she's like, "No, it's fine. I'll eat it." I'm like, "No, you ordered it, and we're gonna get it right."
That's Yep, I understand. It's
Yeah,
hard.
and
My older son's very much like that. He is a protector of people and he stands up for everybody. And that's two amazing qualities to have.
now is that the one who was on the podcast with you?
Yes. Yeah, it
Okay,
is. Yeah.
yeah, I loved his episode with you. It was
Oh, thank
yes.
you.
And when I was listening to it, I'm like, I wonder what my boys are gonna have to say.
Right.
Growing up with me.
It's different when you hear it from somebody else's point of view, certainly somebody that's really close to you. And boy, does it for me, it sure was validating. And I know he knows I love him. I love both my boys, but gosh, it feels good to hear it say it that in that way, in that manner.
Yeah, yeah. You're the crazy woo woo mom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like I said, my wife and I joke about this because I asked her the other day, I was like, "Did you ever think that I would be here doing this?" She's like, "No, honestly, I didn't think so. I thought we would be stuck in a cult."
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And here you are. I mean, you've got some amazing stuff coming up. I don't know how you're going to manage it all, but I know you'll find a way.
One step at a time.
Right? That's it. Okay,
Yeah.
help me so I can make good notes and then tag everything in. Where can people, if they want to learn more about you or reach out to you for anything, where can people reach you?
You can reach me on Instagram at paganpadre0220.
Okay.
If you I'm not really in any other Discord servers other than the Witch Wednesdays
Sure.
Discord server where I'm a moderator at.
And that's where I reached out to you with. Yeah.
I try and do a weekly topic. It's either weekly or bi-weekly.
So Instagram is probably the easiest, or on the Witch Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah. And even then it's like I've got a message from Jacob from the Wisdom of Odin that I haven't opened in like 4 hours just because I forgot about it.
Well, certainly my audience is going, I'm guessing it's a lot of working people. So, I'm sure hours can go by before they would expect something back. It's just how it is. People have lives, right?
Yeah. And I mean, if I get back to you like immediately, it's one of those, like, I'm probably on like taking a break or I'm not working that day.
Exactly. Timing was good.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, look, this person, they messaged me. Let me reply.
Oh my gosh.
I try really hard to stay on top of all of this. But I have notifications turned off for Discord because there's so many messages.
Oh, I bet.
I get sent. Yeah, because I'm in the Wisdom of Odin, like they do. Jacob's got a Patreon exclusive Discord server, and it's like $5 a month. So I just go ahead and I don't even see it anymore. But with that, there's so many amazing people in that server. But even if you just want to do one time and just reach out and try and and find that community of people who are Norse pagans.
For whatever reason, this is what my pull is right now and has been for, I would say, almost a month. It's just something's drawing me over here, and I've always been attracted to, certainly for the crows and the ravens with Odin, and Freya with all the cat rescue and fostering that I do, but the whole entity, the whole thing with the Norse paganism, it's for whatever reason it's calling me, and so I'm gonna give it the attention it deserves.
Yeah, the Norse pantheon is really cool because there's a god out there for everyone. And I follow another person on Instagram, and they do a I think it's like a Norse deity you probably didn't know about. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like, who is this again? And I go back and I read the edits, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's like one line about this god.
That's the amazing thing about being part of a community, is somebody's going to say one thing and you're like, ooh, it just sparks something, or it adds one more layer to your knowledge base and the history that you're obtaining. And I love that energy, that shared energy.
Yeah, it's awesome, that sense of community, especially because like for those who grew up in Christianity and having that church and, going to church on Wednesdays and Sundays and whatnot, it's like,
Yeah.
where's my community at?
Right. Well, I know I mentioned it before, and certainly with my interview with Steph that I did, once I gave into it, and I really started diving down, more on this practice, that everything I was just reading, I'm like, gosh, I've been doing that forever. I just didn't know what to call it, and it really did bring a sense of like coming home for me of, oh, this is it. I've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
I've been doing lots of little things. I just didn't know what to call it or say. And it just feels like you're all of a sudden surrounded by a lot of people that just make sense.
Yeah. And it's like you have that coming home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, one of the biggest things that I did was I kept having this thing in the back of my mind, like, oh, well, you were baptized, so you're still a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, well, then I'm just going to perform an unbaptism.
I didn't even know you could do that.
It's a thing.
It's a thing, is it?
It's a thing that I do. And I tell everyone about it.
You know what?
Really,
you're going to start a thing if it isn't one. How about that?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And basically, for those of you who hear that, they're like, well, what is that?
Right.
I went outside and got some water from the hose and I poured it on and I literally said, I renounce all things Christian, all holds, all ties. I sever them.
Yes.
And I poured the water over my head.
And that's it. That's all
and
you
that
needed.
was it. That washing myself clean of that, that stain, because, the Christians thing is like, oh, once you become baptized, you get marked and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want that on me anymore.
Right. Plus, it's, I think a lot of stuff is what you give power to. So if you'd already cut some of those cords by not giving it the energy and power or your attention and focusing it on where you're supposed to be, that's a big disconnect as well.
Yes, definitely.
To help us kind of wrap it up, is there anything you can think of specifically for the office or did I already ask you that?
I don't think so.
Okay. I can't remember.
I think I said something about it, but this happens to me and Steph every time I record with her.
We're down some different tangents. Like, what? Wait, where were we? Hello, I hear somebody.
That's Lonan.
Hey. So boys are so much fun.
Sure.
Mine are just 2 years apart, so they had a built-in buddy system, growing up. But boys are a lot of energy.
Yeah. Loki definitely was like, hey, you like chaos, right? I'm like, no, I don't. Well, guess what? Here's some more.
Do you ever feel, actually, that brings up a question for you working with Loki. Do you ever feel like, even though Loki might be your main guy, depending on where you are in life, other gods and goddesses may come in and out, like as you need them? Is that?
Oh, most definitely. Oh, yeah.
It's fluid. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Loki's just my patron, because he is a parent of multiple children. Right. And not so that Odin isn't, or or any of the other gods who have children aren't, but it's just the fact that Loki has multiple children, and it's like, okay, cool, I know he's got my back as a parent.
Right.
But when I was living in South Carolina last year, I was working out at a kickboxing gym, and then I became a trainer at that gym. And every time I went in, I would take my Mjolnir off because it was just in the way for kickboxing.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was definitely like, okay, cool. I need this extra strength while I'm working these hand pads and whatnot. And so I started, giving my energy to Thor. Like, hey, look, I need the extra strength.
Oh, I like that.
So Thor became my quote unquote workout buddy
for the time that you needed him.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I do believe in that. Whether you're willing to accept the signs as you're getting them, but I do think deities will come in as you need them and make themselves known.
Yes, exactly.
Is there anything else you can think that we need to record on this? That we didn't talk about?
I would say, if you work in the office and you want to be, low key about it. Low key, sorry.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. But it was just there.
Yeah, you had to. You had to.
I would say the runes would be, once you form your connection with them, I would say that would be a good place to start. My specific wedding ring is my symbol for everything. I put that on every piece of paperwork I have. It's just a part of my signature now. So you could do that, or you could color magic, find those colors associations with whatever deity you want, whether it be, black for Odin, just whatever color that would be. You could do that, or just
if there's an animal, even maybe that's with
Yeah.
them, like the crows with Odin. I've got crows everywhere at my place of business.
You could bring in the animal associations. For Odin, you have the ravens, the crows, the wolves. Thor, you've got his goats. Freya, you've got the cats and the boar.
You could even have a little figurine at your desk, right?
Yeah.
You could.
You could have,
you know what it represents. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a little tea light candle when I worked on base that, I just had out, and I would put a little water in it, and it would just be there.
It'd just be,
So you could have your little, for Loki, I'm gonna keep going back to him
I
because
know.
I
wonder
love
why.
him. I wonder why. You could have like a little snake, a wooden snake on your desk with a little shot glass next to it, and you could put some water in it, or apple juice, or just something that you find that he likes, and then have that there. And at the end of the day, you can just take it and toss it out into nature. You
could even use something like that for like flowers on your desk, even if it's just like a flower. A tiny little shot glass can hold one single flower that might be tied into them, like you were saying with the daisies, right, and Freya, or you could do something like that too.
Yes, exactly. Or like if I had a snack cake, I would take a piece of it and I would put it, I would put that in that cup, and at the end of the day, I would dispose of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This has just been amazing. This is so much information. And if somebody is just starting out, your best advice is going to be just start reading up on it, get your history done.
Yes, definitely. If you don't like reading, start liking to read.
Good luck. That's our most powerful starting point, right? Is education.
Yes.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. I know how valuable it is, and I know how busy you are. I am really excited to see what you've got going and some future posts. I know you've got your hands full, but boy, is it all good stuff.
Yes. Like I said, like we said, there's a lot coming up this year. And I'm really excited to see what this year brings. And I'm really excited to share it with everyone because of the fact that it's such a reclaiming right now.
It is. It really, you're in a very powerful position.
Yes. And as Uncle Ben says, with great power comes great responsibility.
You got it, because you're putting yourself and you're being accepted into a very educational position where you're going to be teaching a lot to a lot of people.
Yes. One thing that I would have to say is trigger warning right now.
Okay.
This just slipped my mind, and I don't know why.
What we got?
Norse paganism is in a reclaiming area because of white supremacists and Nazis who use our symbols for hate.
So I haven't seen that. Where are we finding that? Where is that happening?
It's all over.
Really?
Yes. I actually refuse to go to one route at work because there are like Nazi flags and white supremacist flags all over these people, like all over this neighborhood, and I just refuse to go down there.
And they're using some of the Norse symbolism?
Yes. This is a whole another topic.
Oh, for sure.
But just look up Norse paganism in Nazis or Norse paganism and white supremacists. They use the runes in a very obscured way. Not at all how it's meant to, and I don't know why. That should have been one of the first things I said.
That's okay. Hey, that's okay. But interesting that something's completely being torn out of content and used for something it's not meant for at all.
Yes.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yes, it is. So if you do, decide to use certain runes or whatnot, just be wary because you will get looks.
Oh, sure. Oh, that's too bad. So there is a big reclaiming process going on.
Yes, it is. It slipped my mind.
No, yeah, I'm glad we mentioned it. That's good. just so people know that when, if somebody's looking to go down this path like I am, be very mindful of what you're reading and why.
Yes. When you're looking at the meanings of these runes,
Mhm.
you have to understand that like sometimes runes are used out of hate, and nothing boils my blood more than that.
I bet.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something you're this passionate about, to have
Yes.
it be pulled out of content is beyond frustrating.
Yes. And that's just like I would say that's the other piece of advice. Just
Okay.
be warned that people will be like, hey, are you with the people in the that wear the white with the hats, or who don't have, or who have skinheads?
Well, how important that how important that you get to be in an educational position to teach people the right things about this then.
Yes.
Good for
Especially
you.
in this, yes, especially in this area.
Mhm.
With that, I mean, it's from where I live, it's like 20 miles north.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
the fact that it's even this close to me is wild.
And disturbing, I'm sure.
Oh yes, yes. But that would be like the last thing I would have to say is, when you get these symbols tattooed or you wear them, just know that people may ask questions.
Right. Yeah, and when you get tattooed, you're putting stuff out there for everybody to see. So it's you've got that opportunity then, if they do ask, to give them the right information.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. With this being reclaiming, you kind of have to be the educator.
And that's a big step to take, and position to take. But again, powerful.
Yes. You will get the looks and you will get the questions. Just remember that some people just don't know.
Right. Well, it's a nice opportunity to correct them then if they have the wrong impression of it.
Most definitely.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on these 2 episodes, longer episodes. I know I always try to keep it within 30 minutes, but there's no way. My Crow and Raven didn't make it, and there's some other series that there's no way I'm going to stay within 30 minutes, even if I do break the episodes up. But this has just been amazing. I'm just so thankful for your time.
Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking about this. And, like I said, I've been on Witch Wednesdays, I think 3 times now.
Oh,
and
nice.
Steph and I always go on a tangent. I really appreciate, you giving me the time to talk with you and your listeners.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate your listeners listening to me.
This was a lots of fun, and I would love to have you back for an episode on runes.
Yeah, I would love to come back. Like I said, I'm also a Hecatean priest, so like I don't just do the Norse magic and the Norse pagan stuff. So
I think that's perfect, because you're doing whatever is organically, naturally coming to you. Whatever the calling is, sometimes we don't have a choice. Like, it's just, this is it.
Yeah, I just try and flow with whatever comes at me.
I love it. All right. Well, for everybody, if you can stay on, I did write a poem for today's episode, so I'm going to go grab that, and I will be right back. All right, I've got my poem, and I don't know if this is going to do justice to the amazing 2-part series we just had, but I'm going to give it a shot. All right, here we go. Poetic Edda, Prose Edda, what do you have to say? Tell me all your guiding words to start my day today. You talk of the Aesir and all their mighty power, Odin, Thor, and Tyr, Loki, Frigg, and Balder. You speak of the Vanir and Freya, whom I adore, her brother Freyr and father Nord, and her strong and faithful boar. The Jontun are the giants that bring the chaos in, and their logic of destruction that balance lives within. Yggdrasil is everything we hold dear, and though this tree is not immortal, its power still is clear. Within this tree the powers stretch, high and low below, and each 9 realm is connected to the energies as they flow. Asgard is on top and home to all the gods. The center of humanity is held in its Midgard. Helheim holds the roots and the underworld,
on the beautiful branches live giants and a squirrel. Poetic Edda, Prose Edda, tell me more today of Valhalla and Folkvanger and your mighty warrior's way. Tell me all your guiding words of the poetic Old Norse way, the pagan path I'll read and learn and live my life each day. Thank you so much for joining me today and on last week's episode. I hope you enjoyed the topic just as much as I did. So I actually started and finished the book in between these two earrings that Justin recommended, which was Jackson Crawford's book called The Poetic Edda, which are stories of the Norse gods, heroes that Jackson translated. It takes poems that were written back as early as the 9th century, I believe. It's definitely a book to read again to help absorb all of the amazing stories. But I thoroughly enjoyed it and learned so much. My next book is the Prose Edda, which I believe has the same stories, but kind of in a newer version. I'm equally excited about this one. So next week, my podcast is all about Lammas and Lunasa, so we can get ready for our next calendar celebration. I happen to be in a celebrating mode myself a bit this week, as it's a birthday week for me, so I've got lots of stuff going on. It's very festive around here right now. Until then, till next week, I hope you have a great rest of this week and weekend, and I'll talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.